Then we went to the main event, which was the only match that really I thought might be interesting, Bryan Danielson against Christian Cage. And it was. It was an actual wrestling match with two professionals. And the level of the basics and the professionalism and the logic and the psychology, on this show at least, went through the roof when they got in the ring with each other. And there was a clear baby face and a clear heel, even though the baby face is part of the heel group, as we mentioned, blah, blah, blah. And that makes no sense. But again, the best match on the show and two of the most talented guys at what they do, Bryan Danielson in the ring, and he's a good promo. Christian Cage's promos have never been better, and he's the Bond villain. And correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but when they started this thing, it was supposed to be bringing a fresh look to wrestling, a revolutionary new product with young guys that we've never seen before. And 4 years later, the best match on the program between two of the top guys in the current AEW promotion, both spent at least their most successful years in the WWE, and both of them are in their mid-40s or older. And they outperform everybody else on the fucking roster, and they're put in the main event spot. Where did we just go around our elbow to get to our wrist?
It became a second promotion, not an alternative to WWE. And, remember it, it was going to be a whole different feel. It doesn't have a different feel anymore. It feels like, unfortunately, a lot of the cast-offs of WWE are here. And unfortunately, and not even unfortunately, but a lot of them are talented in the ring and good workers.
Well, yeah, and that's the problem is that the guys that are either too old for or are not in the favor of the WWE, that they don't want to use them, they come over to the other company and are immediately head and shoulders above everybody else on the fucking card. That doesn't look good. What do you do about it? I don't know. But goddamn, the match with the combined age of 90-something was the longest match, the best match, the most professional match, and it involves two of the top guys in the company that are being featured as such because they know how to do this shit. Not because they were friends with somebody on the indies. So, finally, the fans were with it, lots of big false finishes. Christian misses the spear, Danielson hits a knee and gets a 2 count. Danielson rolls into the label lock, but he can't get it with his bad arm. And you'll never guess what happened, Brian.
What happened, Brian?
My DVR froze because it was 10 o'clock. And they couldn't get the finish in on this show either. I see all the finishes on WWE. I don't see any of the finishes on these programs.
No, SmackDown ends early every week.
Yes, it ends 2 minutes. That's a Fox requirement because they're going into local news.
Yeah.
They got to get their last commercial break in and switch to local.
Well,
but nevertheless, so did I assume Christian won because it was for the title, but I don't know how.
I believe that is correct, and me too.
Well, there you go. What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on over at the Arcadian Vanguard Network and the wrestling news arm of your massive media empire, oh Rupert Last?
Oh, well, please don't call me that, but another fine week of programming on the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network. Get information about all the shows on Twitter at Superpodcast or on Facebook at facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. Of course, the wrestling news each and every day. Get your free wrestling daily newscast every morning from the Wrestling News, directly from thewrestlingnews.com, or look for the Wrestling News wherever you find your favorite podcasts, including YouTube, The Wrestling News. Also want to make mention this week's episode of Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam, a look at WWF, TV, and everything happening in the fall of 1983. The calm before the storm. Jimmy Snuka has already killed his girlfriend, but Vince McMahon has yet to kill the territories. A very interesting time in wrestling history. Hear it today at McAdamPod.com or look for Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And of course, the 605 Super Podcast, The mothership! Go through the archive today at 605pod.com or available wherever you find your favorite podcast. A new episode one of these days soon, I promise. The 605 Super Podcast, the mothership.
Oop. Oh, my sound machine is flummoxing.
That's the second time, right? That's the second different button that's short-circuited on you.
I wonder, does this thing take it takes a battery. An LR44AG13, DC 1.5V43.
All right, if someone hearing this can get on that, please. Thank you.
Yes, can somebody? It sounded like I was giving out coded fucking army secrets in World War II.